distance from you. You don't gotta lie to me to get through. Push and pull me off into the deep and let's pretend that nothing ever happened on that night. I regret my confession, I shouldn't have spoke. Cause you didn't feel the same way about me. And it's eating me alive all of the time. So I'd rather keep my distance from you. You don't gotta lie to me to get through. Push and pull me off into the deep and let's pretend that nothing ever happened on that night.
Fill me out with your smile, like the sunshine brings the light. Fill me out with a flame. I will let you in this game. Take me out when I'm down. 'Cause with you I'm safe and sound. 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 I'm safe Bring that beat back.
There we go. All right, guys. Sorry about that. Welcome back to the channel, guys. You guys finally get to see the new layout. Obviously, we had some additions here for the Halloween weekend. All right, guys. Sorry about that. Welcome back to the channel, guys. Let me get rid of that echo real quick. There we go. So, still working through some of the normal things of getting used to how this all works, man. Oh, man. All right. So, now we got this set up. Best Georgia talk is silent. Yeah, I appreciate that, Jordan. Thanks a lot, man. Thanks, guys. So as you guys can see all around me, I've kind of changed up how the setup was. I wanted something to look a little better for you guys. Spent a couple of days working on it, and hopefully you guys like it too. I'm going to continue to see that evolve and change as we move forward, but I kind of like this setup better. So we're going to roll with this for a little bit. So what do you guys think? You guys think it looks pretty good? Looks terrible? What do you think? Let me know. Oh, man, so much to talk about today. So much to talk about today. I still got music going in the background in my ear. I got to get that off. So, yeah. What's going on, CJ Kane? What's going on, guys? Thanks, DJ. Appreciate that, man. Appreciate that. All right, so obviously you guys know tonight we're doing the call-in show, 770-765-2428. If you guys want to talk, give me a call. We'll talk about anything you want to talk about. If you guys want to talk about Georgia, Florida, it's great. If you guys want to talk about Miami or anybody else, we can do that too. So, what's going on, Ron? Let's see who we got here, man. I got a shout out to my always here people. Sarah Kane, thanks for being here. Melissa May, Jordan's here. VT Dub, JT Thompson, Bryson Kearney, Coach O, DJ Doom, CJ Miami Kane 87, Dawg West. Still missing a few people that we normally see in here. Don't see Tiger Raven yet. He normally jumps in here. Reasonable Gump. Brandon, he waiting on a few of those guys. Hey, what's up, TJ Scratcher, T Mill Scratcher, man? Appreciate you being on. Yeah, Dawg West every time, man. He always sends me a message. He's like, man, I missed the live stream again, man. I missed the live stream again. I told you we'd get you on here eventually, man. I told you we'd get you on here. So, man, had a great day today. Got some stuff done around the house. Handled some stuff with some business today, which is always good. Obama's missing. Zamir White's not here either. He was here last week, so hopefully he tunes in. You guys may notice that there's a little bit of a lag as far as it goes, what you can see for me. I'm going to turn the light on here in a minute, but I just wanted to give you guys an opportunity to see the backdrop with the lights off, and I got my strobe light going. Unfortunately, the video camera doesn't like it too much, but we'll get that figured out here in a minute. Hey, thanks, Melissa. I appreciate that. I really do. I'm glad you guys are on here. Without you guys, it's just me talking to a camera. So, obviously, we want to talk about this upcoming game this Friday. What I think, what's going on, Pi, and how I think the game is going to go. So, let me go ahead and turn the light on here. Hang tight. Some of this wonderful studio lighting that we have here. There we go. So you guys should see the stream clear up quite a bit. Gators have no chance. I'm down for that, man. It makes sense to me. Tyler Clark. Brett Tyler Clark showed a little some these past games for Georgia. Yeah, I can see that. But one of the things I like to do is I kind of like to jump into some of the numbers, some of the stats, kind of review what's actually out there, and kind of make my prediction off that. I'm always right, no, but I think a lot of times these can be really, really good indicators. We have storms coming through early Monday morning, followed by a cold front. I'm hoping it's not too cold at the game because the guys are used to playing in hot weather. I certainly don't want to see any more rain, so we'll see how it looks. But if you guys want to know, I actually didn't look this up. Oh, my goodness. Well, it ain't looking good. It looks like game time is going to be wait, this is Wednesday. No, that's not what I want. All right, let me get the 10-day forecast. That's what I need. First of all, I like cold weather. I really do. All right, so Saturday, the high is 64, 63. Low 34, so it'll probably be somewhere in the 40s or 50s, which is good football weather. 10% chance of rain, wind 8 miles an hour, so down on the field, maybe 3 or 4. So I'm good with that. Humidity 58%, that's good football weather. I'm good with that. Oh, hey, appreciate that, Brian. Talk UJ wide receivers versus UFDBs, very important matchup. Appreciate the super chat, Bryson. So here's basically what a lot of people think the game is going to boil down to. There's a lot of concern about whether or not these wide receivers can create space, can create enough room to catch a ball. There's also has to have been some work between Jake Fromm and the wide receivers in order to create that cohesion. Tua started practice today. So Florida's DBs at times have not looked all that great. They've had games where they've looked good, and they've had games where they've looked bad. And so to sit here and say that they're just going to be, a dominant force, I don't know. Is it possible that their DBs could do well? Absolutely. But it's also possible that UGA has spent 2 weeks working on their pass game in order to get that fixed. Tua is ahead of schedule. Well, they're going to be extremely careful with him because they don't have a backup quarterback of his caliber right now. They got a good backup quarterback, but we'll see how he does. We'll see how he does. But as far as the DBs go, probably what Georgia's going to try and do is you're going to see Florida probably start out with man defense and force Georgia to have to beat them with man defense. So you're going to see some tight ends probably get mixed in just to change up what they're doing, and that will allow us to run the ball a little bit as well as throw the ball a little bit. If we stay in man coverage, they're probably just going to drop 11 in the box or 7 to 11 in the box and make us fight them. So if we do that, I'm still confident that Georgia will be able to run the game just because our running back and our running game is so strong. So it's going to be interesting how it pans out. Can Florida run on Georgia? There's been times this season that Georgia's defensive line has not held like I've wanted it to, but make no mistake, Georgia's defensive line is elite. P. Ryan is a veteran runner, but he's basically the only guy they have. So if you see P. Ryan in the backfield, at least one linebacker is going to step up and clog the hole, and he's going to struggle to get yardage. Think back to the Benny Snell game of last year, and that's what you're going to see. Or go back to the Georgia-Florida game last year, and I mean that's essentially you're going to see the same thing again, only worse. Let's see. Jordan says Rex, why to his injuries is to his other leg. He doesn't look good off injury, but I don't think this injury is that bad. They said that this injury was exactly the same injury as before, so I don't know if that means bad or good or whatever. Well, we'll just have to wait and see. Georgia wins, I would agree. So is Cager back for sure? If Cager's back, Cager's probably back, but playing limited with that hand. He's probably got that hand or shoulder or the hand wrapped up. So yeah, it's going to be interesting. Pickens is going to have his best game yet. Pickens can catch, Lawrence can catch, D-Rob can catch. My question is that if you're talking about receivers that need experience, Demetrius Robertson played for Cal or UCLA or one of them. I can't remember. I think it was Cal, Southern Cal. I'm not sure. But he had 14 touchdown passes. He was over 1,000 yards receiving. I mean, the guy was a phenom. Take the stats with a grain of salt, guys. But his stats were incredible. So I'm not sure why we haven't played him more in a wide receiver position to create space on some of these other guys. I know he's not the tallest guy in the world, but he's certainly tall enough to get the job done. Other teams are throwing passes against Florida with not as good of receivers as we have. No reason we can't fix that. Hope Jake gets tight to Cager like Jake was to Holloman. I agree. Cager's certainly an asset, but we got to be able to pass it around to more than just one or two guys. Take a look at the more successful teams out there like Clemson and Ohio State and Alabama, and they've got multiple highly talented veteran wide receivers. Swift needs to go 25 to 30 touches this game. I don't know. He's had 110 attempts all season. He's had 110 attempts all season, but out of those, he has 752 yards. So, I mean, I perfectly feel that he would be capable even if he was only doing 20 touches. Well, we need to be able to pass the ball. If we can't pass the ball, we're not going to be able to run the ball. We've traditionally used the run to open up the pass game, but now that the run game is not quite as prolific as we want it to be because we don't have that 1-2 punch quite like we did last year, I think that's causing some problems to open up the run game, or the passing game, excuse me. You need to run the ball to the outside, not right down the middle. That's a pretty fair assessment as well. Georgia does a fine job of giving the other team predictability and running it right up the middle. You guys have heard me say multiple times that it's sometimes it looks like Jim Chaney 2.0. We don't need that. We need a real offensive play scheme. If Swift gets going, our season is over. This will be the best secondary the Gators have faced. Styles makes games, and this will be a great matchup. Yes, I think this will be a good game. I can certainly see it being a game of momentum swings, and it just kind of depends on who can handle that the best. I think Georgia has an opportunity to win this game by 2 touchdowns. Georgia's favored by 6.5. To me, that's not enough. The reason we're favored by 6.5 is because we had a bad game against South Carolina, but we had everything in the world that could go wrong did go wrong, which was turnovers. Will I break a TV if I lose? No. Yeah, losing to Florida at this point with as highly ranked as they are would be heartbreaking, but it would not be infuriating. There's a difference. I mean, Swift and Fromm will be ready. Will be ready. Yeah, I want Swift and Fromm to be ready, but I also want that offensive line to be ready and defensive line to be ready. Swift has a new song out. I don't really keep up with those guys' music, man. Some of those guys listen to stuff that I can't get behind. I want to support them and whatnot, but yeah. When you turn over 4 times, you can't win. Well, if you turn the ball over 4 times, if you lose the turnover margin by 4, and you're still in it at the end of regulation, that says a lot about your defense. The offense has to step it up. If we would have had that one less turnover at any point in that game, we'd have won that game because we'd have got a score out of it, but we didn't. I think that UGA defense is going to be ready. One of the things I think that's happening now, which is the same thing that happened later, Sarah. One of the things that happened last year was that Florida got too big for its britches. It thought the same thing last year that you hear their players talking about this year, which is they think they got it in the bag. No. It was like Kentucky last year. Kentucky's like, we got it in the bag. Yeah, okay. I remember last year they're saying the same thing about Jake Fromm. He throws simple slants and curl routes, and then he picked them apart. And then now they're saying that, DeAndre Swift, he's just a regular running back. We got to, we'll just handle him the same way we handle any other running back. Well, by my recollection, y'all ain't been doing a very good job of stopping the running back. So, whoa. Got some wildlife in here, man. Whew. Swift really is your maiden name. My stepbrother's last name is Swift. Also, no relation. So let's talk about the numbers a little bit. A lot of people are familiar with the teams, but not necessarily familiar with the numbers. I think if UGA wins, it will be trash turnovers. You guys have the defense to do it. This will certainly be the toughest defense they faced. They went out and they got worked on by LSU, 42-28, and then they came back and I won't say barely beat South Carolina, but they let South Carolina score 28 points. So I know their defense is not as strong. They only won by 8 points against Kentucky. So this will be the best defense that he's seen all year. LSU has an okay defense, but this will be the best defense they see all year. I'm glad LSU is number one, as stupid as it is. We got them right where we want them. Yeah, the curse of being number one. I'm telling you, being number one before the end of the season is a terrible curse to have, and it seems like no team ever survives it for very long. Whether you start out number one, like for instance, let's say you're Clemson, right? You're undefeated. You started out as number one, but somehow, right now, you are all the way down to number 4, and you hadn't lost a game. You have not lost a game, and you're down to number 4, and possibly going to be knocked to number 5 soon. CJ Miami Kane says, hit the like button if you want your team to win. I like the coercion, man. If your stepbrother had President Polk in his family tree, then I am related to your stepbrother. I don't know if he's done that kind of research. I just can't wait to meet him in the SEC championship. Oh. So let's go over the top 10 here real quick. I set this up here just so that I could, just so that I could kind of point to it while we were in the middle of the stream here. So you got LSU at number 1. You got Alabama at number 2, Ohio State at number 3. I'll be honest with you guys. I really think Ohio State ought to be number 1. I mean, if you want to push LSU to 2 and Alabama to 1, or Alabama to 3, or Alabama 2 and LSU to 3, however you want to do that, that's fine. I could see ranking Penn State higher than Clemson. In my opinion, Georgia should be ranked over Florida. It should be Georgia, Florida, Utah. No. Georgia, Florida, Oklahoma, Utah, Oregon. That's what I think, man. Brian Denny says I don't see any team going over 30. That's certainly a possibility, especially with Kirby Smart's propensity to have very conservative play calling in big games. I mean, he's to me he's still got the mindset of the old Alabama where they just had an outstanding defense and you had to beat their defense and you just had to put some points on the board, which won plenty of championships at Alabama. So let's see how that goes. They looked real good against Wisconsin. And Wisconsin's supposed to have one of the best defenses in the country, and they just did whatever they wanted to them. So to me, I mean, I really think Ohio State should be number one. Do I think Georgia, LSU, or Alabama could beat Ohio State tomorrow? No, I do not. I think those guys are head and shoulders above everybody else they've played. And I think they're head and shoulders above every team right now in the country. Justin Fields comes out there, he throws the ball around almost like it's predetermined where it's going to go, that his receivers are going to be open, almost like it's written in a script. It's incredible. And I'll tell you straight up, as a Georgia fan, when he played at Georgia, I didn't like the way he played. When I watched him play, he made bad choices. He made bad decisions, so I didn't like the guy. But after that guy left and he got put in a scheme that fit him, in a setup that was right for him, or maybe you could just say in a modern-day offense, the guy's killing it. Numbers would seem to indicate that Fields is way better than Fromm. Fields is like 32 or 33 touchdowns already. He's like set a school record. I don't know that there's been a Georgia quarterback that's ever scored that many in a season. This guy's doing it as a freshman. So, yeah, it's incredible. We played ranked teams later in the season. Georgia was a high-ranked team, and look what happened to them. Oh, little man upstairs is getting after him. He's calling his sister. It's warm down here in Grandma's basement. Ohio State should be number one. So who's going to be the first person to call in tonight, man? We always get somebody calling in. See who's wants to put their opinion out there. This is why my gut tells me Florida will pull this off. Kirby is so conservative in big games. UGA has a really slow offense, kind of like Florida. UGA definitely got a national championship competing. Clemson's schedule is number 20 mine. You never play anyone. Thoughts on where Zachary Evans is and where he will commit? I have no idea. I haven't kept up on that guy very much, but the last word I heard is that he wanted to play with Zamir White. So we'll see what happens. Honestly, I mean, we got tons of talent right now. We really need to pick up some wide receivers. Been saying that for years, man. But it is what it is. Jordan won't matter. We're bringing the pain. Enrique, hey, what's up, dude? Welcome to the channel. Said until LSU beats Alabama, I'm taking Alabama and Tuscaloosa. I agree with that. It's almost never smart to bet against Alabama. Just want to be number one in the end, roll tide, but don't we all? He was on Murph's live stream. Who's Murph? Is that the guy from Home Alone? Is that guy? I don't know. Could be anybody. Yeah, thanks for joining the channel, man. Glad to have you over here. I'm going to jump back on these numbers real quick. So, leaving the barn, Gatewood leaving Auburn. Yeah, I read about that earlier. Oh, thanks for letting me know, Melissa. So, for those of you who don't know, Gatewood, which was, I believe, the backup quarterback for Auburn, has entered the transfer portal. That guy could really go anywhere. He's a good quarterback. I think he's a 4-star. And for whatever reason, they keep playing Bo Nix. Apparently, there's some kind of family history with the Auburn football program and him and his dad or something. I'm not real versed on it, but apparently Gus Malzahn has lost another recruit yet again. Not a big surprise there either. So this year, if we look at the stats so far this year, and we want to compare Kyle Trask to Jake Fromm. So Kyle Trask has played. I don't know. I think he's played in, was it 6 games, 5 games? Can't remember. So let's see. So Bama should be impressed by LSU beating mediocre 3 loss Texas, Barn, Florida. We smoked them and certainly beat the Barn by more than 3. Get real. Gatewood does not fit our playing style. He is a better fit for Florida. Well, I'm telling you right now, after watching the way that Jake Fromm plays, Jake Fromm is an excellent game manager, and the guy does have some talent, but we need better than that. This guy's sick. He beat Wisconsin himself just about. Yep. So Jake Fromm has 1,400 passing yards on the season, and Kyle Trask is at 1,391. I mean, so just within a stone's throw. But the completions percentage is marginally different, 67% versus 70%. But here's the number that caught my eye. This is the number that caught my eye. So Jake Fromm's attempts is 174. Kyle Trask's attempts is 169. So they throw more per game. Bryson Kearney, thanks for Super Pet, Chan. More like Mo Pigs. That's pretty good, man. Oh, man. Oh. That's pretty good. Mo Pigs. I'm gonna use that. I'm gonna use that every game I see that guy throwing an interception. I'm gonna say Mo Pigs, courtesy of Bryson Kearney. All right, so let me get back to what I was saying. Jake Fromm at 1,400 yards and 174 attempts. Kyle Trask 169 yards at 169 attempts. So average for Kyle Trask 8.2 yards. Average for Jake Fromm 8.1 yards. Long for Jake Fromm 60. Long for Kyle Trask 64. And then you hit the number. 14 touchdowns for Trask, 9 for Jake Fromm. It's dangerously close to being half. Interceptions, Jake Fromm 3. Interceptions for Kyle Trask 4. But he's thrown those 4 in fewer games. He's been sacked 13 times. Jake Fromm's been sacked 4. He's lost them 89 yards. Kyle Trask has lost his team 89 yards. So it's definitely. Oh, Uncle Lou's in here. Good morning, sir, and whatnot, as you would say. So to me, I think that the defense is going to show up in an impressive way. I think this is by far going to be the best defense that Kyle Trask has played, and I think you're going to see the Kyle Trask. You're going to see him actually struggle against a real defense for a change. Georgia's got a top 6 defense in the country, and that hasn't changed. So they're going to have some kind of answer for that. They obviously are not going to be able to run the ball, so they've got to try and rely on Kyle Trask. This is going to force him to stand in the pocket longer. If Georgia's able to dial up the pressure like they've been trying to do, I think you're going to see Kyle Trask throw another interception or 2. And you're going to see this game, could get pretty rough on him. Good old P. Ryan. P. Ryan is their number 1 running back. He is rushed for 460 yards. Compared to DeAndre Swift at 752. And the next guy is Damian Pierce for them at 248. Next guy for us is Brian Harrion at 311, and then Zamir White at 245. I bet you didn't know that number was that close. And then their next rushing guy is Emory Jones, who is actually their backup quarterback. So the run game for Georgia is definitely much stronger. Uncle Lou says, BJ, boom, Ray, good morning in that. So we've been running the ball much better. It seems like there's been a lot of times this year that Florida has struggled against the run. But if you look back, Georgia's struggled to run the ball and, the way we've wanted to. But you can blame it on the weather or whatever. It is what it is. Oh, you guys hold on 1 second. I got to go grab something. I'll be right back. Hang tight. I want to show you guys something. Hold on. Let me take that back. I think we got Uncle Lou on the line. What? My phone rang. Was Uncle Lou calling me? Oh, well. Hey, hang on one second, guys. I got to go grab something. I'll be right back. There we go, man. Try calling again, Lou. I don't know what happened, man. I'll tell you what. I'll just call you.
Your call has been forwarded to an automated voice messaging system. Here is not.
Tried calling again, Lou. I don't know what happened, man. Yeah, I got him because my up there. Thought these would be friend of mine. Friend of mine gave them to me as a present. So anyway, yeah, I thought it'd be interesting to bring those down real quick for you guys. Oh man, what's going on, Dorito? Man, I just saw you were in the channel. I got to get this call stream thing set up better. It's not set up the way I want it to be. All right, let's try it one more time. Hey, Uncle Lou, you there?
Oh, yeah, good morning in that. This is Uncle Lou here.
Hey, how's it going, Uncle Lou? Thanks for calling in, man.
That's going good. How's it going with you and that?
One more time, what was that?
Yeah, how's it going with you there?
It's going great, Uncle Lou. It's Halloween season. Dogs are fixing to go out here and work on Florida, so it's going to be a pretty good day for us.
Florida fans are going to be unbearable this offseason. Remember how loud they were last offseason? And that was after finishing third in the East. Can you imagine what's going to happen this coming offseason after they finish second in the East? They're going to be unbearable.
Well, I don't know which one we're going to have to share the It's Our Year Next Year trophy between them or Tennessee fans.
Oh, God. Tennessee fans beat South Carolina. I don't know if you heard. They're definitely winning out the rest of the year now.
Yeah, I've noticed that both Tennessee fans and Florida fans tend to use the transitive property as much as possible to make their team look better.
Oh, yeah, Tennessee will beat every team they play from here on out by 40 points without a problem.
Oh, they come.
You know, they play Georgia State again, they beat them.
I believe it.
Yeah, I think they have Georgia State scheduled again first game in a couple of years. They're trying to get it moved to November so they can beat them that year.
Well, I heard that this coming up off season for Florida is going to be a heartbreaker. Florida's going to have to play Vandy and Mizzou, and if they lose to Georgia, do you think they'll have a hangover for Vandy?
No, not Vandy. Vandy's just terrible. They'll beat Vandy, but Mizzou owns Florida though. Mizzou's beat Florida like 100-20 over the last 2 years. I don't see any reason why this year will be different. So, that's even if they beat Georgia or not. But I mean, they're not beating Georgia. I'm telling you, well. But anyway, I gotta go. I'm a very busy and important person, but I did want to call in, tell you good morning and that.
Well, I do appreciate it.
Shout out to everybody in the comments section too. Most of it in there is good people, especially BJ. Good morning in that, BJ. Keep up the good work, and it's I appreciate a descriptive name that tells me everything I need to know. So, sir, and y'all take care.
Thank you for calling in. Have a great day. Uncle Lou, the one and only, one of my favorite people, one of my definitely favorite YouTube content creators. For those of you in the stream who don't know, I started watching Uncle Lou about 3 years ago. I get up every morning, driving to work, and I would intentionally not watch the Uncle Lou video of that day, so that I could watch Uncle Lou on my way to work the next morning. That way, there wasn't kind of a dead spot. It's kind of the reason I got involved in the whole thing. He's just a great guy. He's definitely a hard-working son of a gun. If you guys don't know who Uncle Lou is, go check him out, man. He's a great content creator. Excellent guy. But what's up, Reasonable Gump? Yeah, work right now. We can't talk. Just want to say, hey, well, I appreciate that, sir. Don't work too hard. Working is one of them things that's been known to kill people. Everybody that worked in 1805 is dead. So you got to be real careful with that. What's going on, Freddie G? First time I saw that guy, I called him Free TV or something. Man, let's see what's going on here. Yeah, if you guys that are in right now, if you go over there and look at the Patreon page, we're starting to get set up on Patreon. Justin, your comment's actually hidden, but you'd be surprised at how much that guy's helped me out. He's an incredible guy. There's more to that guy than you know, and I'll leave it at that. Same thing with Catfish, the Volunteer Roadshow. That guy, I've had many phone calls with him, and they're always glad to help out. Bryant, did he? See, half the time I get on the show, man, I just read the comments. The comments make the show. It's not me. I don't do anything special. I read some stats and make some comments. Some idiot threatened Uncle Lou in the comment section. On mine or on his? No, I didn't know if it was in my comment section. Yeah, we don't deal well with that. That's got to go. Uncle Lou's worked really hard on his channel, and he's not scared to give you advice if you reach out to him. The guy will talk college football with you anytime you want to talk to. Uncle Lou's got an army of followers, so I feel honored that he would even give my show the time of day. So simple as that. No, I didn't see that, Freddie. But I can assure you, Uncle Lou has been fighting trolls much longer than I have, and more than capable of handling himself. Stop mistreating Uncle Lou. He's good. Don't worry about him. I'm in the Lou army. There you go. So one of the things I was talking about is pretty soon here I'm going to start adding some merchandise to the channel. I'm going to start adding shirts and some coffee cups and things along that nature. Also, going to get the Patreon page started up. And primarily what I'm going to be doing is, if somebody donates money in Super Chat, we really appreciate it. If you want to sign up for Patreon page, we appreciate that. Supports the channel. But one of the things I'm going to be doing is increasing. I'm going to take that and use that to get better lighting, to get a better headset, to get a better microphone, to actually get a mixer board, so that I can do a call-in show that is actually ran through the computer. What I'm doing now is kind of hodgepodge, and I don't like it. Get a stream deck so that I can make smooth transitions. What's going on, Dan Mullen? Hey, what's the game plan this weekend, Dan? Let me know, because I want to be able to help out. Kirby. What's Uncle Lou's YouTube channel? Just type in Uncle Lou. You can't miss him. Uncle Lou had the strength of Oh, I'm gonna start the Radiant Noah show. What's going on? What you gonna put on the Radiant Noah show, dude? Let me know. I'll check you out. Hey, Dan. Oh, that's awesome, man. That's awesome. So anyway, you got me off track. I love reading you guys' comments. It makes my day. Um, looking at the stat sheet, obviously Georgia's a little better. Passing the eyeball test, there's times when Florida looks phenomenal. Georgia, even at its worst, still is able to put up an outstanding defense. The defense is championship caliber. Just got to fix the offense. I think that whenever Radiant Bob said daily college football news and stories around football, that's cool, man. I like it. Taking phone calls, that's cool. I've had several guys in here. Sergeant Peppers is one of them. He jumped in here one time. I met him Locust Farmers Market, and we talked about football there for a while, and he jumped on the channel, and I told him, I was like, hey, if you check this guy's channel out, he's a good dude. Prison terms, everybody is. Bryant, man, you on a sidetrack, man. Reel it back in a little bit. Hey, what's going on, Justin? Thanks for jumping on, man. As you guys see, I'm kind of getting into the holiday mode with the scruff at Dan Mullen. Come on, DJ Doom. Goodness gracious. All right, so let's get back to some of the other games here. Let's talk about what games are coming up this weekend. Kind of who we think is going to be worth watching. Defense wins championship, and so does Uncle Lou. So the stand, I don't want to look at standings. I want to look at rankings. There we go. Schedule. World's largest outdoor cocktail party. So for those of you who want to know, tomorrow there's a game that might be actually worth watching, and that'll be Baylor versus West Virginia. West Virginia is not that good, but I think Baylor is coming along. Jason Hughes, is it Hudges or Hughes? I don't want to mispronounce your name, sir. Hudges 1, Hughes 2. Just put that in the comment section. So who have I got in the LSU Alabama game? I'm going to have to take Bama. The reason I'm taking Bama is because their offense can move the ball and their defense can play really well. Looking at LSU, their offense is revamped, but their defense is weakened. So because of that, I believe Bama's still going to be able to put points up. I feel like LSU is not going to put up. So Hughes, got it. I think Bama's going to win that game by 10 points. Whoever comes out of the East can get theirs. Yeah, that's going to be a tough game. Whether it's LSU or whether it's Alabama, that's going to be a tough game. UGA needs to go get Joey Gatewood or try Drake Fromm is leaving. So, Melissa May said, "Yes, I see you are smart, man." Well, when you bet on Alabama, it's kind of a safe bet because their percentage speaks for itself. Border Bob wants to know if we feel like the world's largest outdoor cocktail party is a neutral field. Yes. Because they travel from Gainesville to Jacksonville. We travel from Athens to Jacksonville. And there is a ton of Georgia fans there. FSU or Miami? Miami. Easily Miami. FSU is such a dumpster fire right now. FSU meet Miami. Trainwreck meets dumpster fire. It's terrible. It's worse than even. Also, it's unbearable to watch. That's going to be some sloppy, sad football. Let LSU eat the rat poison. That's right. What is UGA doing with Gateway? You know what? There's a lot of truth in that. Kirby does not know how to use a dual threat quarterback. I think we have the right tools. I just don't necessarily know if we have the right coaching to be able to handle what we've got. And I think that when you take a coffee boy like James Coley, which I really thought he was gonna be much better. Apparently, he was also an offensive coordinator somewhere else. Ooh, Mills T said LSU 28 and Alabama 24. Coach O said we coming. That's not what he said. He said, "And no, we coming now." That's what he said. All right, so Navy at UConn Friday at 8 p.m. if anybody wants to watch that. Tickets as low as $16. $16. If you guys are making bets, go check out Uncle Lou and go to UBet, or what is it? UBet Now, I think it's what it is, or ubet.com. Go check his site out. He's got links to that stuff. I'm broke. 45-35 Bama. I'm going to disagree with you, Bryant. I'm going to disagree with you, buddy. I'm going to say 42. I'm going to say 42-31 Bama. They don't get another good get now. Get out there to play the ball. I say, come on, LSU. Bet now. That's what it is. Bet now. All right, so let's talk about the Saturday matchups. Michigan's playing Maryland. They ought to slaughter those guys. Believe it or not, Wake Forest is ranked. And for all the teams that have beat Wake Forest, it's actually looking pretty bad for them next year because they're going to return most of those players. NC State's playing them. Waddle, Riggs, Smith, and Judy. What do you guys do when those guys are gone? It's going to be a shootout. I don't know, man. I think that Bama defense is going to be too much for LSU. Let's see here. Who else? We got Georgia, Florida playing at 3:30. Who else? Somebody else is playing at 3:30. Oh, the Miami, Florida State game. I actually kind of want to watch, believe it or not, I kind of want to watch the Oklahoma State versus TCU game. I think I think Army is going to beat Air Force. Arkansas couldn't beat Air Force. And I do also kind of want to watch the Utah Washington game at 4 o'clock. I just want to see how that game goes. Then you got Auburn and Ole Miss. Auburn ought to win that game. Tennessee at UAB. That's a coin toss. Memphis at SMU. Memphis snuck into the top 25 last year at some point, and I think so did SMU. Imagine UGA desperately needing a 4-star. It must be the 5 stars you don't really care for. Mullen is a better X and O coach than Kirby. Kirby is a better recruiter. There may be some truth to that, except why is it taking Dan Mullen so long to get a team working as well as Kirby has in just a few years? Got to know something about X's and O's. LSU ain't winning this game. UAB is ranked top 20 in offense, and the QB is legit. UAB winning. UAB by 13. Oh, man. I don't know if they play the way they did last week. One of the gremlins is getting loose in there, man. And for those of you that can't sleep, Oregon is playing USC at 8 o'clock. That game will go till midnight and then some. And then for those who really, really are your late night owls, you've got Hawaii and Fresno State playing at 11:59 p.m. Man. Mullen's second year? Nah, I thought it was Mullen's third year. Yeah, I'm telling you right now, I don't think that. I think the only. I mean, look at it this way. They put in Mac as a backup quarterback, and almost nothing changed. Their offense still pretty much functioned the same way. It wasn't quite as smooth, wasn't quite as fluid, but certainly steamed right along. So I think if Tua's back, LSU's in trouble. If Tua's not back, LSU may have a chance. It just depends on how they play. And if Tennessee puts Marr out on the field before he's through his concussion protocol, they ought to fire everybody in that freaking stadium. They should never do that to those players, man. Rotten corn dogs to Dreamland barbecue ribs. We don't know if Tua's playing or not, Jason. We'll just have to wait and see, man. It really could be either way. TJ LSU dad. This is what I will say about TJ LSU dad, and this is just my opinion. I don't expect anybody to feel any different. He's entitled to his opinion. But for me, because of how closely people are attached to their political standpoints, I think it's a very dangerous thing to do to mix in your politics on your channel, because there's no way everybody's going to like them. And I mean, there's tons of and you guys have heard me say this before. There's tons of political channels out there. If you want to look at politics, go to Fox News, go to CNN, go to MSNBC, go to ABC, go do all that stuff. But to me, I think football is something that should pull people together. We all, very few teams at the end of the season are undefeated, and so everybody can pick fun back and forth to one another. Oh, you lost to South Carolina. Oh, well, you lost to LSU. Oh, well, you lost to Clemson. I mean, it's something that he blocked Uncle Wu. Maybe he did. Um, he, he made a Uncle Lou made a joke about Trump giving Clemson. I guess he was going to say Clemson, but to me, football ought to be something that brings people together, not something to throw politics into. Politics is politics. You know, made a joke about Trump giving Happy Meals to those Clemson players, and people lost their mind. uh, if it's a joke, it's one thing, but man, some of the stuff I see on some people's channels, they just get bent out of shape so quickly about that stuff. And to me, just my opinion, if you feel a certain way about your political affiliation, then go find a forum or go find something that people want to fist fight about that stuff and just have at it. But for me, everything equals to one thing. That's not fair. Bartholomew. I am not running for president. You couldn't give me that job. No matter what you do, listen, there's a reason why they send Secret Service around with you to protect you, because there's people that will kill you just because of what you believe in, and that's insane. I don't want no part of that. Clemson might not make the playoffs, going undefeated in their week schedule. That's going to be really hard. That's going to be really, really hard for a lot of people to swallow. I think if they go undefeated, I think they've got to put them in the playoffs, because, again, I mean, for instance, if the New England Patriots were in the ACC and they beat everybody, but they got a weak schedule, you can't help who you play. You can't help. Well, you can, but when you play somebody, you got to play them. Try to get blocked again, but he looks off camera with a crazy. So he knows you're trying to bait him now, so he just ignores you. What's going on, Extra? I haven't seen you in a hot minute, dude. Hey, there's Luke Joels. Tua was the worst quarterback UGA played last season. That's just facts. I don't know, man. I think Guantanamo Bay was probably the worst. Bartholomew was mean to you. Well, that's not fair, Melissa. That's not fair. Just ask Uncle Lou. Florida, Georgia score. People are going to think I'm crazy when I say this, but I think Georgia wins by 10. I think it's going to be a low-scoring game. I think you're probably going to see it somewhere in the neighborhood of 18-28. I mean, if I just had to guess. Looks like you got to set up now. Yeah, I kind of set up a few things, man. I tried to make it look a little better, and I want it to improve it. Take the next step forward and just, continue to work on the channel to look like you'd never seen a football when we played last season. Well, that's actually because we were able to get pressure on him. I think it was the first time anybody had ever been able to really get pressure on him. I think he threw his first interception ever against Georgia. Ooh, Radio Noah said 45-17 Georgia. Ocalabala or Ocalabala. I'm not sure which one that is, but 21-17. LSU versus Georgia in Atlanta for 4 weeks now. Thanks, Melissa. Not high on Tua right now, so you get no argument here. I think it's just going to come down to if LSU. It's going to be another. I really think it's going to be another one of those where if LSU beats LSU plays Georgia, Georgia beats LSU, they're going to put Alabama in. I honestly think that's the way that'll go. Uncle Lou, not an excuse, but he got injured in the first quarter. Injuries happen. Next man up. As long as it's not a concussion. 31-17 Georgia. I can see that, Isaac. That makes sense to me. What's worse, Tua versus UGA in 2018 SEC Championship or Bama's light show? Hold on a second. There you go. That's the Bama Light Show. uh, uh, there's so much going on right now. I don't. There you go. So right now, I think the teams to beat in the country it has to be Ohio State, and I have to put Uncle Luke's Light Show greater than Bama Light Show. Well, of course. I mean, what do you expect? What if LSU beats Bama and UGA, or Florida beats LSU in the national championship game? If LSU beats Bama and UGA, well, if they beat Bama and UGA, or Florida beats, I'm not sure I understand the question, sir. So if LSU makes it to the SEC championship with no losses, and they lose to, I'm just say Georgia or Florida, do they get in the SEC? The SEC championship, the SEC game, whoever wins the SEC championship's in. And at this point, whichever SEC team you have, from the West, if they win, they're in. If they have one loss, they're still probably in unless it's a blowout. So, I mean, I feel like it would be possible to have two SEC teams again, especially with the weak schedule that Clemson has. But in my opinion, if I had to toss it up and I had to play that scenario, I'd say Ohio State would get in. I would also say Ohio State would get in even one loss, in my opinion. They've just been that dominant. I'd say Clemson would get in, and then whichever team is a one-loss team and whichever SEC East team won. But the SEC East team would have to win, otherwise it would be a two-loss team. Nobody in the SEC East is undefeated now. Bartholomew said LSU isn't going anywhere but to the couch. No, man, they're going to the bayou, man. Dog's tears will be so tasty. Hey, if y'all beat us, that's okay. That's okay. We still hold an all-time record over you guys. So, I mean, it ain't like you come out and dominate the entire program. You still have a losing record against UGA. Georgia isn't winning the East this year or next year. You guys are so worried about winning the East. I don't care about winning the East. I want to win the national championship. Now, we just got to go through Florida to do it. If you roll the dice back and you look at earlier in the season, when Georgia played Tennessee, we put up 40 points. We put up 55 points against Arkansas. You could throw that out. We put up 63 points against Murray State. You can throw that out. The 30 points we scored against Vandy, the 23 points we scored against Notre Dame, and the 21 points that we score against Kentucky, I feel like that's what our offense is going to do in conservative games. Well, somebody's calling in. Let's see what we got. It's big. It's Big Dog. I don't know what happened right there, man. This thing's so weird. Try calling you back, man. Let's see if I can call him through here. Hold on. Somebody just tried to call, so we're going to try and call him back. Let's see here. All right, let's give that a shot. See if you guys can hear him. Can you guys hear that okay?
What, are you screening my calls or what?
No, I wasn't trying to screen your call. For whatever reason, it's a Google number. Whenever I try to use a Google number, sometimes it works weird because I'll pick up on my end and then it will say press 1 for whatever. And I don't know. And technology is not my best friend sometimes. So what's going on, man?
Got you. Hey, this is Dawg West.
Hey, what's going on, Dawg? Let me make sure.
Hey.
Let me make sure everybody can hear you. So,
Okay.
hey guys, let me know in the chat here if you guys can hear him okay when he was talking.
But hey, just want to talk a little bit about Georgia.
Yeah, go ahead, man.
Hey, I just think, I mean, last year, we blamed it all on Jim Chaney.
Yeah.
But do you think it's Kirby?
Oh,
I mean, honestly,
I think absolutely it's Kirby. I think what happened is that Georgia has some extraordinarily conservative play calling. I would turn it up if I could, guys. I don't know why it's so low, but I can try turning it up here. It's probably going to damage my hearing, but we'll give it a shot. I think that the big problem we had is that Jim Chaney was extremely predictable. I think the guy was a mastermind at setting down with a week to prepare and coming up with a good first half game plan. And if you go back and you look at the games that we played in, we did very, very good in the first half, and then the elite teams we played would make an adjustment, and then we would struggle mightily in the half. And I mean, the teams was outscoring us left and right. So it proved that Jim Chaney was an excellent offensive coordinator and that he could come up with some great play schemes. But he could not make an adjustment at half and implement it. Whenever we got James Coley, I thought for sure, I'm like, they're going to revamp the offense. We're going to see a much more modern offense. That's why we're getting rid of Jim Chaney. Now that we would have a modern day offense, we have a defense to match. We're great. We're championship material for sure.
Absolutely.
And then the first couple of games come out, and I was like, we're kind of looking like we used to look, but not even that good. And then we had a big blowout game against Murray State or Arkansas State or whoever it was, and I was like, all right, looking pretty good. But then we got into the Notre Dame game, and it was, dreadfully repetitive. It was almost boring. It was just boring to watch. And I'm looking at it. My wife's looking at it, and we're both sitting there going, what is this? This is not Georgia football. This isn't even close.
Exactly.
So I don't know what was going on with that. Now, did it prove to be beneficial? Yeah, I mean, I guess the ends justify the means, but you can't count on that. I mean, it really was a lot closer than it needed to be, considering the amount of talent we had on the field. Now, while conservative play calling may have its place, I think at the end of the day, you've got to be able to say, hey, we're going to come up with a game plan. We've got receivers that can catch. We've got guys that can run, and we're just going to rip them to pieces. So the question is it Kirby or is it Coley? I would tend to say it's probably more Kirby because it went downhill rather than.
And see, that's what I was thinking too. And the only reason I'm saying that is because even these past 3 games, it's first down, run up the middle. Second down, run up the middle. Third down, do a 2-yard slant behind the line of scrimmage.
Yeah.
And then punt. And it's like, this is what we saw back in, back when we kept blaming it on Jim Chaney. But something's got to give. I mean, our offense is it's potentially deadly. I mean, but when they're on, they are on. I mean, there's no doubt. I think going into Florida's game this week, we've got to give it to Eli. We've got to give it to the tight end. Same thing he did to Notre last year. Right there at the very end, Notre took us right all the way down to the end zone.
Well, I really thought. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, I really thought that Eli Wolf is certainly the kind of guy that can be a tremendous asset. When you've got tight ends that are big, strong, hard to tackle guys, and you're playing against what some people would consider a fast but undersized secondary. I mean, look at what Notre Dame's tight end was doing to UGA. I mean,
Claypool.
Claypool. Every 3 or 4 passes, You know, they would throw it to this guy, and he's 3 yards or 4 yards short of the first down, and it would take 4 or 5 UGA players to drag this big monster down. That's Eli Wolf. He's like 6'5", 6'6", and he's a monster. So I mean, even if you grab this guy and just let him fall forward, he's going to pick up 3 yards. He's just that big.
Yes, sir.
So if you go back and I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I'm just saying. I just wish we would go back to that. This. Don't. I mean, Cager is incredible, but at the same time, throw it to the tight ends too. Yeah. I mean, we got plenty of options. Let's do it.
So here's one of the things that I wanted to kind of go over real quick here. Hang on, let me back up. Let's see here. While I need one that's abbreviated. These other ones are just way too long. Okay, no. This will work. So I'll use this. Let me drag it over real quick to here. All right. So what I'm looking at right now is a copy of last year's. I hope you're right, BLST. Austin Peay last year, 45-0. That was our score. Then we played South Carolina, 41-17. Then we played Middle Tennessee, 49-7. Then we played Missouri, 43-29. Then we played Tennessee, 38-12. Vanderbilt, 41-0. 41-13. So all of these are 40 to 50 points roughly every game, right? Yeah. So if you look at this year, hold on, let me go to this page here. 30 points the first game, 63, 55, and then 23, 43, 17, 21. I mean, anybody can look at this and see that the consistency disappeared, right?
Right.
So then we turn around and we played LSU. Now, and then when we lost to LSU, the play calling got very conservative. 36 points against Florida, 34 points against Kentucky, 27 against Auburn, and then we played UMass and we blew them out, and then we played Georgia Tech for 45. When we played to Alabama, another conservative game, 28 points. That's what we lost the game, but it was 28 points. And then we played Texas. And it was 21 points, another conservative game. So if you look at the times that we've played, conservative, it hasn't really been to our benefit.
Exactly. So I agree. I mean, we got to get back being nasty again, because like I said, I mean, we've got an incredible offense. I mean, incredible.
Oh yeah.
I mean, there's no reason why we're not running these people over. I mean, and I understand, we got the backs to do it, but at the same time, we've got to open up. We've got to open up to the tight ends. We've got to get to the wide receivers.
So
you still got incredible backs behind you. So let's just keep going with it.
So what would you say if I told you last year that almost every game that we played in, it was a fairly balanced game between passing and running, and that we averaged somewhere around 200 yards a game in passing? What would you think we're averaging this year?
This year, 55.
So
50 maybe.
So here, let me actually pull it up for you. I'll actually give you the exact number. So this is one of the things that's
it's low.
You think so?
I think.
So we've played 8 games so far, right?
Yes, sir.
We've averaged 205 yards in passing per game.
Per game. Wow. I didn't think it was that high.
Per game. Now, if I go back to last year, as soon as it'll load, I'll give you those numbers as well. Good night, Okalabala. Every time I get on the phone with somebody, I always get lost in the chat.
No, I don't want to hold you up.
No.
Call in and talk to you.
No, dude, I definitely want you guys to call in. That's why I put the number up there, and I just got to get a better call in set up than what I've got, so it's a little easier on everybody. Why is this thing taking so long?
I think you're awesome. I think you do an awesome job. I mean, you're very knowledgeable about football, and I'm just glad you're a Dawg fan.
Oh, well, I appreciate that. I've been in golly, man, I've been a Dogs fan for as long as I can remember. My grandma had the food tray, the little Georgia, the UGA lunch platter thing, but we were never allowed to use it. She put it up on a shelf. You could never use that thing. And as a kid, I was like, I always wanted to use that thing. And she's like, no, hey, we're not eating on that. It's like, no. I was like, oh man, it's like killing me, Grandma. So I got family members that went to UGA. I've went to UGA to games, and I've spent the night on campus before, but I didn't actually attend university. I went in the military instead. Let me pull this up real quick. But I mean, I went to the very first my very first UGA game was the Georgia versus Missouri game when they first entered the SEC. Aaron Murray was the quarterback. And the controversy was that was the old man football was, that Missouri said that Georgia played old man football. And it was, no, not so much, man. It was, wasn't what you got out there and kicked their teeth in. It was kind of a problem for them. So, let's see here real quick. So we played, how many games did we play last year? 13 games? I think we played 13 games. Okay. So last year, at the end of the season, by the time the end of the season was done, we were averaging 244 yards a game. So this year we're averaging just over 205. But you have to take into account that University of Kentucky game that we didn't throw the ball at all. So that really, really pulled our numbers down. So the passing in a way is there, but it's like you almost don't see it. It feels like we throw for like 80 yards a game, but we throw more than that. The problem that we have is that we don't have the explosive plays that we should.
Right.
I mean, when you were watching Aaron Murray or Matt Stafford, you could not pull a receiver you could not pull a cornerback off of a receiver because Matt Stafford would burn you downfield in a heartbeat. And then when Jacob Eason came in, all he could do is overthrow the guys. I mean, he's the only guy I've ever seen that could outthrow a 4.4 40 guy. He could overthrow that guy. I mean, you're talking about guys that are so fast that you could throw the ball just about as hard as you could, and they could beat it down the field. He was overthrowing those guys. The guy had an amazing arm strength, but man, no touch.
Exactly.
Bartholomew tells Melissa is telling Melissa May to stop being a closet UGA fan. Hey, we'll convert them when we can, man. We'll convert them when we can. When I first started the channel, a lot of the guys that got on here were actually Alabama fans. It was kind of surprising. So what do you think the score is going to be, C-Dog?
I think Georgia's going to win, but I think we'll probably get them by 13.
Okay.
So I'm saying score is probably going to be 21 to 33, 34.
Wow. I'm hoping it's more than that.
I hope so too, but I think that's what's going to
happen. We'll see what happens. I really hope it's better than that.
Yes, sir.
Well, I'm about to wrap the show up here, man, because we're running close to 10 o'clock. But I really appreciate you guys calling in, man. And call in anytime, man. Anytime I'm on, call in.
Yes, sir. I sure will. I appreciate it. And like I said, just keep up the good work, man. You're doing an awesome job.
I really appreciate it, sir. Thank you.
Hi, brother.
Yeah, man. Have a good night.
Good night.
All right, guys. Well, you guys go ahead and throw your score predictions in the chat here so that we've got them for this week's coming up game. I'm going to go ahead and put my number out there. I'm going to say 28-18. 28-18. 28-17. 28-17. What if the universities make them pay for tuition now, right? No, rated notice is 48-7. Man, I like it though. I like it. What's up, James? What's going on, buddy? Both offenses are slow. I agree. Georgia plays super conservative. If we get loose on them, it might be interesting. 43-14, 27-14, UF. Trolling me. 43-14, well, 43-14. If you don't put a number out there, if you put a number out there and you don't put a name next to it, I'm going to assume that you're pulling for Georgia. 42-21, 31-24, 1980. 31, Florida 30. That's pretty good, DJ. I like that. Sorry, been missing the live shows. Oh, man, I hate to hear that, man. Dang, James. Oh, brother. We'll be praying for you, man. UGA 28, Florida 13. See, I can see that. 21-17. So you could pick either one. 27-23 Gators. Meant 27-24 UF. All right, now y'all make sure after Georgia wins this game, y'all show back up in this comment section so y'all can eat your crow. Now y'all expect me to do it when we lose. Y'all got to do it too. Now we share around here. We like to share. Florida will not score more than 20 points on our defense. So now that everybody stirred their score up there, I'm going to throw a really interesting stat up there. No team this year has scored more than 2 touchdowns against Georgia. That includes Notre Dame. No team has scored more than 2 touchdowns. Their offense has scored more than 2 touchdowns against UGA. I don't know what to tell you, but if you think all of a sudden Florida's going to come out there and score 3 or 4 touchdowns, oh, I know you will, Bryant. I know you will. Yeah, I turned the volume up on some of this stuff. I want to make sure you guys can hear me. Handing out dog bones for trick or treat tomorrow night. That's the way to do it. I want to do live show. I'm going to start trying to do the live shows on Wednesday night around 8:30. I don't want to conflict with some of the other content creators out there, namely Uncle Lou. He does his on like Tuesday and Thursday. If he's doing a late show, I'll try to do one early so that I don't conflict with what he's doing. It's not that I believe that I'm going to pull anybody away from his channel or anything like that. I just like for everybody to be able to view all the content at the same time. That way it doesn't, you're not having to pick between 2 people. As long as Fromm doesn't throw for 350, I will be here. All right, guys, so one more quick thing here. Let me pull this up. 28-18 UGA. All right, guys. I really appreciate you guys jumping on. Thanks so much for tuning in. We're going to give you guys a few preview screens here on the way out. Some of the things we like to share with you guys. You guys have a great night. God bless. Go Dogs.